All right, first off, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honor to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. Okay, so staying on the subject of Revelation 13, verses 16 and 17, and the subject matter being the mark that those verses speak of. All right, we're going to read something else that we brought up in the previous video, all right, which is another company. We're going to learn about another company, all right, that is in the market for the same technology that we give examples of, or the same technology that is the MotB, or mark of the beast. Okay, so first let's go ahead and get this verse again. All right. All right, let me just open up another window here. Yeah, let's open up another window. So we'll get this warning first, this prophecy. All right, Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17. It reads, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." So the "and he" is speaking of the beast. If you read up in Revelation 13 and 11, all right, it reads, "I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb," all right, being the two sides of the government, all right, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, whatever, they're all a part of that beast system. It says, "And he spake as a dragon," all right, passing along these draconian laws that tighten up the perceived power that they have over the people, all right. It says, "And he exerciseth," in verse 12 it says, "And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him," being that Roman Empire. All right, this is the second leg of the Roman Empire, all right. "And causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast," being that this is the second leg of the empire, of the Roman Empire. All right, you are upholding the dominion that ran that empire. All right, the Edomite Empire, the Edomite dominion. You are worshiping the things that they push. Okay. Again, it says, "And he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast," being in that system. Okay. The more you are in that system in these days, especially now that the truth is here, upholding to what they tell you to do, which, yes, we are to obey, all right, certain things that these people uphold, all right. They make some good laws as far as like driving drunk, all right, driving while texting, okay, things like this nature, okay. But as far as the things that you don't have to do, all right, they push it, all right. Eating foods that fuck you up, eating foods that the Lord deems abominable. How do they do this? By pushing it on the TVs, by making you feel like it's a tradition of yours. All right, they uphold these things. How can on one hand they say that this is a country of, as what they say, God, okay, but then they push the things that God doesn't like. Okay, they accept and push and make laws for things that the Lord doesn't like. All right, so let me read that again. Revelation 13 and 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that healing of that wound is this second leg, starting with the Renaissance era. Okay. He reads, and he doeth great wonders. We're still speaking about this beast. Okay. This dominion, this rulership. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Being the second leg of Rome, all right, they gathered to themselves more Edomites that are maybe vassal states, or maybe some of these things that help uphold his empire aren't Edomites, but they are under the rule of Edom too. Okay, so maketh fire come down in the sight of men. All right, what do you know about Nagasaki, Hiroshima? Okay, so on and so forth, things like this. All right, we've been a country for almost 250 years, if not on the mark, and we've been at war. We have not been at war, I think they say, 13 of those 250 years, which Esau's blessing is a sword. Okay, let's find that out really quickly here. All right, out of almost 250 years, how many years has America been at or involved in war? It says the U.S. has been involved in warfare for the vast majority of its existence, with estimates suggesting around 225 to 230 years of conflict out of its nearly 250 years as a nation. Okay? Man. It says the U.S. has spent a significant portion of its history engaged in warfare, with some sources stating only it has only had a very small number of peaceful years since 1776. All right. So Esau's blessing was a sword. Okay. And this country follows the same pattern as Rome. Okay. Look at the architecture. All right. Look at the medical field. All right. There's something called a medical renaissance. Let's look that up really quick. Uh, all right, what is the medical renaissance? The medical renaissance was a transformative period in European history, spanning roughly from the early 16th to late 17th century, characterized by a new emphasis on observation, dissection, and experimental investigation to challenge old medical theories and pave the way for modern medicine. Okay. So everything that the first beast upheld, this leg of that beast, all right, the Roman Empire upholds the same things. Okay. And everybody's fallen into that system after all this time. All right. Revelation 13 and 14 now, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right. Most people think that the Roman Empire went down and disappeared, but this is a second leg. I give people advice at work, and one of those things I tell them is that if you can't find what you are looking for, all right, to look right in front of you. So again, most people don't know that they are living, all right, in the second leg of Rome. This is the second leg of that first beast, okay? And it was healed at the time of the Renaissance. This is when it started to get healed, all right? In these times now, this beast is living and speaking, okay? Revelation 13:15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image is the manner of the beast's life. So if it's, well, not if, so if you can see here that the beast is a dominion, a rulership. The image of the beast is its power, its philosophies, its beliefs, its manner of life. Okay, this is what most people are tied up in. So again, Revelation 13:15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. People that are outside of this system, all right, in other countries and here, all right, they usually get dealt with. Okay, you can take that as you may. All right, the ones who are outside of the system, all right, they get dealt with, and they don't care if they have to use a part of its system as an expendable. Okay, all parts of that system are expendable if it means that the beast moves forward. All right, if you catch my drift. Okay, and then we get down here to 13:16. All right, the subject matter of this video, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And most Israelites are caught up in this system to where they listen to everything. All right, they are captured by this image. All right, the ways of life. If the beast push, do as thou wilt, Israelites take that to a whole different level. All right, at points you can be more wicked than the wicked. Okay, let me I want to look up a verse in Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy 28 and man, is it 64 still? No, I don't think it's 64. It's not 64. Well, we can read 64, but this isn't the exact verse I was looking for. We'll find out after we read this. Deuteronomy 28:64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other powers, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. All right, what we were put on this earth to do is to serve Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and live by the manner of life, all right, by his image, okay, his manner of life that he put here for us. But instead, we fell into worshiping, by being a part of this beast system, worshiping this beast, okay? But I do want to find this other verse here. Let me see. hold on a second. What was 54? Let me go back up here to 54 and see. Nope. All right, so give me a minute. 48. Man. So Deuteronomy 28 and 48 says, therefore, thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And yes, this did happen to us. In these days, you can see it in a spiritual sense where they have a yoke of iron, okay, upon you still, okay, being a part of the system. Not even looking towards the Lord, but looking towards the dominion that is in rulership at this point, which is Esau, Edom. All right. So being in their system, this goes for all people, but especially you Israelites. This is who this message is for. All right. They're going to funnel you into receiving this MOTB, this technology, being that you uphold to their ways. All right. You'd rather, and a lot of people would rather hold up to their ways. They think the Lord's ways are grievous, but they're not. Okay. These ways lead to life. All of the ways outside of this lead to death. Okay. So now let's go back here. And this is how he is going to cause it all. Again, he being this dominion, this Edomite rulership. Okay. So let's go back here now and read something about this other company that's in in competition with the two examples that we give of mark. All right, the mark is the charagma. The mark is the micro CHIP, the RFID CHIP, which is a technology, all right, that they're going to have put in your body, okay, literally. All right, it is a physical thing. The Lord's mark is a spiritual thing, all right, a mark of exemption from judgment, okay. That is a spiritual thing. These Edomites, this dominion, all right, this rulership is a carnal thing. This whole world is nothing but about the carnality. All right, this world gives you things that please your flesh. This is why most people walk in the flesh and not the spirit. Okay, but this is one of the competitors of Neuralink, Wallet More, Synchron, things like this. Okay, so I asked, what technology does the company known as Prophetic specialize in? It says the company Prophetic, founded in 2023, specializes in developing non-invasive neurotechnology to induce and stabilize lucid dreaming. Their flagship product, the Halo, is a wearable headband that uses AI and ultrasound to allow users to become consciously aware within their dreams and potentially control them. Now, this sounds tempting to a lot of people. All right, again, because they don't consider the Lord. All right, and I'm not sure if this is going to bring up micro CHIPs, but you can imagine what it would be like if you teamed up this technology, all right, that says uses a headband, all right, with an actual micro CHIP. All right, they're covering all their bases, step by step for some people, because some people need to be gradually fooled into taking this, but some people, all right, will just go right out and receive this mark without having to be fooled. All right, this is why we cover all these things. Do not, furthermore, entrench yourself in this beast system, in the worship of this beast, in walking in its image and not the Lord's. All right, this is why we point these things out. It says core technologies, transcranial focused ultrasound. All right, this non-invasive Neuromodulation technique uses targeted sound waves to stimulate the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-awareness and decision making. All right. Now that we're talking about the technology that you wear here, you best believe that the micro C hip in the head, in the forehead, in the metapon is a more powerful technology than the one that is going to be in the hand. Now, all of these are going to separate you from your power, so it doesn't matter which one is more powerful or not as far as you being separated from your power if you take either one. All right, I'm just letting you know that the one in the head is more powerful. So when you hear of these wearables, all right, that affect your brain or your neural capacity, okay, you best believe that the one in the head is going to be able to do this, just like wearables. All right, it's going to be more powerful to put this thing in you. So if people start to wear these wearables, for example, this is what I'm saying. You start to wear these wearables, and you start to reach a plateau in your excitement and the things you can do. You're going to start thinking about, well, if I can do all these things with these wearables, what if I go ahead and get this in my head? All right, it's going to funnel you right into getting this. Okay, people are already thinking about getting micro C hips, making that jump from the phone to getting the thing inside of them. All right, you're already seeing movies where people are talking through a micro C hip in their hand. All right, being able to end calls, call, all right, open doors, cars, all right, and that's not far off from what they're going to push. All right, that's why, again, we tell you about all these technologies. All this is doing, all right, this is speaking about dreams, right? All this is doing is taking you further more into that dream world, right? Where you think that taking this technology is going to be okay. All right, that's not the case. That is not the case when it comes to the Lord, anyway. Okay. So the next thing says prophetic technology uses an AI model, Morpheus 1, trained on EEG and fMRI data. This allows the Halo headband to monitor brain activity, predict when a user enters REM sleep, and precisely deliver ultrasonic stimulation to induce a lucid state. The hardware combines electroencephalogram sensors to read brain signals and multi-element ultrasound transducers to send the necessary sound waves. The company has collaborated with Card 79, the same design firm that worked on Elon Musk's Neuralink. Is that a coincidence? No, there is no such thing as coincidences. All right. It says the goal of prophetic technology is to make lucid dreaming a state that normally occurs rarely into a repeatable experience. The company suggests this could be used for creativity, problem solving, and self-discovery. All right, they're going to push that you need to keep up with this technology while you're awake and apparently while you're asleep. All right, pretty soon they're going to say that that thing is too bulky to sleep in. Go ahead and upgrade to the actual micro C hip. All right, people are going to fall right into this funnel. It says while prophetic is an active startup with a prototype in development, it is still refining its technology through a partnership with the Donders Institute in the Netherlands. Like many emerging neurotech companies, its promises are based on preliminary research, and its products have not yet been released to the public. Okay, I just want to look at something really quick. Are the Netherlands a member of NATO or the EEC, European Economic Union, EEU. I'll just put EU. I just want to see what it says. Yes, the Netherlands is a member of both the European Union and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. The country is a founding member of NATO, which it joined in 1949 to ensure its security and freedom, and is also a founding member of the EU. And the reason why I asked this is because a part of that beast system, or the beast system, all right, is NATO. All right, NATO, the EU. All right, America is that whore. Okay, that rides on that beast. Okay, that's why I asked, because they are, as you can see, involved not only in NATO and the EU, but in the pushing of the image of the beast, its ideas, its philosophies. Actually, they're a founding member, right? Speaking of Netherlands, and that is where prophetic. While prophetic is an active startup with a prototype in development, it is still refining its technology through a partnership with the Donders Institute in the Netherlands. Okay. So let's read a little bit more of this NATO and EU as far as the Netherlands are concerned, and we'll close out. NATO membership, it says the Netherlands was one of the 12 founding members of NATO in 1949, which that 12 is really 10. Okay. That 12 is really 10. It was part of those 10 heads in the beast. Okay. Esau tries to change these numbers to upset prophecy, but it doesn't work like that for the ones who obey what the Lord said to do, to study, to read. Okay. It says NATO is a military alliance for collective defense and security among its member countries. Now, it uses that word defense as a strategy also. All right. Although, all right, NATO was formed as defense against Russia. Okay. And they even try to deny that. They say it's defense here, but defense from what? All right, if you look up, well, we'll look that up in a second. It says EU membership. It says the Netherlands is a founding member of the European Union. The EU is a political and economic union of 27 member states. Therefore, the Netherlands belongs to both organizations, which form cornerstones of its foreign and security policies. All right. So what do I want to look up here? Was NATO formed as a response to USSR? Let's see. I know it denied it last time I looked it up, but hey, coming around, I guess. You gotta ask questions. You gotta ask questions in the right way. All right. The programmers, all right, Esau Edom kind of put his ego into this technology, this AI. All right. So you have to ask like it's higher than you. All right. You have to speak to this like you speak to like Edomites like to be spoken to. All right. You speak to it like to uphold its pride is what I'm saying. It says, yes, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was formed in 1949 as a direct response to the perceived threat of Soviet aggression and expansion in Europe after World War II. The formation of the Mutual Defense Alliance, which includes a commitment to collective defense, was a strategic move by its founding democracies to contain the Soviet Union and prevent further and to prevent further conflict during the emerging Cold War era. All right, so it admitted to that this time. I know I had asked a question just like that. It wasn't those exact words, but it tried to deny it. So let's ask, who were the first 10 members of NATO and the EU? The NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, founding members were 12 countries. It says 12. Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, United Kingdom, and the United States. I'm just wondering why they can give me 12 and can't tell me what the first 10 were. Because they try to upset prophecy, all right, by changing all these numbers, but they're not going to be successful in this, man. And what do you know? They give 6 countries for the foundation of the EU: Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands. All right, I have the first 10 and somewhere in all these notes that I have. All right, but there were 10. They can't upset prophecy. Let me read that prophecy really quickly here. Oops. Get out of there. Hey. Oops. Just to give a few verses that mention these 10 heads or 10 horns. Revelation 12 and 13, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon its heads. All right, so the Roman back in Roman times, they also had rulerships. All right, instead of America wasn't around back then. Okay, they had Rome, right, and its vassal states. All right, the lesser powers that held up, the greater. Okay, Revelation 13 and 1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. All parts of this system go against the Lord. All right, they are contrary to the Lord. Hey, get out of there. Okay, Revelation 13 and 1 and Revelation 12 and 3 are speaking of the same beast right here. Okay, the same part of the beast. It's not speaking about the second leg of the Edomite dominion, but here in Revelation 17 and 13 it is speaking of America. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, all right, America, sit upon a scarlet colored beast. All right, that scarlet color follows Esau Edom through these scriptures. Scarlet, red, okay. Hey, So he carried, this is Revelation 17:3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, reincarnation. Okay, this is a reincarnated empire of Rome, the second leg. Okay. This is Revelation 17:7 now. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman. All right, how do we know these mysteries? Because the Lord shares his mysteries, his secrets, with the prophets. Here in Amos 3:7, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. All right, this world's wisdom and knowledge have no power when it comes to the truth, man. Okay, the only thing they can do is do something for the truth. They can't do anything against the truth. And that goes for us too. Okay. Oh, where did that go? Okay. Now, let's read that again. Revelation 17:7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay. There's also vassal states in this time. All right. So this America is Babylon the Great. It is the future sight of a lake of fire. It is this woman that rides the beast. Okay. It is the whore, right, that sitteth upon many waters. Right. It is the military capital of Esau Edom's system, its dominion. Okay. So I hope this came through us sincere and edifying. All right. Do not take the mark of the beast, man. Quit even thinking about how enticing this technology is, if you can. If the Lord has the Spirit on you to consider these things and to take it, that's what you're going to do. Okay. The Lord has us considering what the technology is and putting out all the warnings. All right. So Lord willing, we stay in this path. Okay. Lord willing, again, this came through as edifying and sincere. Okay. And with that, all praise to Yahweh in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. And Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.